Vayakhel. We are in the fifth reading. Let's get right to it. Actually, it's okay. Here we are. Okay. We are chapter 36, verse number 20. We continue with the building of the Mishkan, of the sanctuary, the home of God.
Wood. Is that cedar?
Acacia wood.
Acacia, what is that?
No,
Special wood?
it's not cedar.
Okay.
Okay. Verse number 20. Vias Karashim, and he made the Karashim, the planks, the Mishkan for the tabernacle, for the sanctuary, the home of God. Atze Shittim made him from Eitz is wood. Atze means wood of. Shittim, acacia wood. Oimdim, vertically standing. Eser Ames, 10 cubits. Right, this is a cubit, hand length, approximately a foot and a half. So there's 10 amas. Erech keresh is the length of cubits. Amma b'chetzi, I mean the height rather. Orech means the height of the planks. Erech there's a keresh ve'amma b'chetzi, and 1.5 amma reich v'keresh ha'echad. Each one is 1.5. So 1.5 wide, right?
15 feet high.
But approximately 15. Well, let's use the terms over here, right? 10 cubits, which is approximately 15 feet. Here we have it, right? Each one 10 high, 1.5 across. Okay. Shtei yadais lekerish. Each plank had 2 yadais. Here it translates tenons. Yadais means hands, so for the word hands. Ha'echad mishal laves va'achas el achas. So each one had 2 tenons, had 2 hands, right? Shalavas achas el achas again. Also the chol keresh mishkan, and so it was done for all the planks. Right, what are the yadais? Hold on. I don't think we have a picture of that. The bottom of it had 2. Yeah, two. Yeah.
Stakes.
The ass is called the Mishkan Lesim Karashim Lefas negative Temana, and you made from the planks of the 20 planks on the southern side. Here's the southern side that's open, right? So the 20 planks across, and now we're going to say 20 planks to the north, right?
That's the length.
Yeah. "24. Arboim adni 40 bases made out of silver, also tachas karashim, were under the 20 planks. Shnei adanim tachas keresh, 2 bases, 2 sockets or bases, whatever term you want to use, that would go under each plank. Echad l'shtei yadais, and 1 for 2 prongs or tenons, as it translates over here. It's hard to see in the picture over here. Hmm? Yeah, I'm just trying to see if we can see a nice picture. Oh, here we go. Here we go. You see here the two hands that are sticking down, and they go into two adanim, two sockets, right? The beams, planks. Okay. 25. V'letzela Mishkan Hashenis, into the second side of the Mishkan. Lefat Stofin, to the northern side. Asa Ishin Karashim. Also, you make there 20 planks, beams. Arbaim Adanim, Adnehem, and Arbaim 40 sockets or bases. Kesef made out of silver. Shnei Adanim Tachas Zakeresh. Two Adanim under each plank beam. Ha'echad ve'shnei Adanim Tachas Zakeresh ha'echad.
That's solid silver?
Huh?
Solid silver?
Solid silver.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot of silver.
yeah. Well, the Yarkisei HaMishkan, to the back side of the Mishkan, Yama, which is to the west, Asa Shisha Karashim. There were six beams, planks that were made. V'shnei Karashim also the Mitzvah Mishkan b'Yarkisayim, and there were two corner ones in, right? Two corner ones. Yeah. Two corner ones.
Almost 2 to 1. Width and length.
It's actually 2 to 1. So yeah, so you had the corner ones. And two planks in the corner on the right. So the planks now, they were flush against the bottom and flush against the top. So they were flush. So the planks were fitted together into a rectangle band, and two planks on the two corners were made in the corner to make it flush. Vayu shmeina karashim, so it comes out that there were 8 planks, ba'adnehem kesef shisha asar, and their base, their sockets were out of silver were 16 adanim. Shnei adanim l'shnei adanim, two sockets, tachas keresh echad, under each plank. V'yas briche atze shitim. Now they made a crossbar. Here you can see in the picture. See here? See a crossbar. One here, and then in the middle, it went inside the wood. They carved out inside the wood. This is on top of the wood. Okay. Got that? From the picture.
Didn't have a drill.
So yeah, they made the crossbars out of Atze Shitim, acacia wood. Chamisha Lakrashi Tzela Mishkana Achas, 5 crossbars of plank along a side of the Mishkan. Chamisha Brichim Lakashi Tzela Mishkana Shenis, and also 5 crossbars for the planks on the other side. Chamisha Brichim Lakashi Mishkan Liarkasi Yama. And there are 5 crossbars of planks on the west side also. The asses of Briach, Hatichain. So those. One second.
We don't have Rashi because he already explained this.
Exactly. Rashi already explained it, so therefore we don't have Rashi.
Except for one time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, let's be current.
Okay.
Okay, so 30, V'hayu shmeina krashim, so there were 8 planks, beams, Vadnehem kesef shisha asar. Sorry, no, we did that already. Yes, okay, so 31, the crossbars, right? We said that. Okay, 33. And made the middle crossbar. That it should go in the middle of the beam, from one end to the other end. Right? There was a hole that was drilled into it, from one end to the other. Tzipa zahav, and the planks were overlaid with gold. Tabois osa zahav batim, and there were rings, gold rings that were made on the planks, right, to hold the plank, the crossbars, right? As you see here, you see the rings over here. So they went through. Those were gold rings. Also zavatim lebrichim that were made for the crossbars. V'yitzaf zabrichim zav, and the crossbars were also overlaid with gold. 35. Yasis apareches. Now they made the curtain. Right, this was the curtain that was separating between the holy and the holy of holies. Tchelis, it's made from turquoise, argamon, turquoise wool, argamon, purple wool, selas, shani, and scarlet wool. The sheish mashazar, sheish is linen. Mashar means it's twisted. They made it woven, a design with keruvim, cherubs. 36. V'yas la arba amudi shitim, and they made for this curtain 4 pillars made out of shitim, acacia wood. Yitzapim zav, and it was covered with gold. Vavehem zav, and their hooks were gold, like to hook it onto the pillars. V'yitzoik lehem arba adnei kasev, and they cast 4 silver bases for the planks. V'yas masach lepesach oil techeles. Then there was a screen that was made, right? That's at the entrance on the east side. Here. This is the screen. This is the east side. That's the west side, right? We spoke about the west side and the planks. Here, it was a screen that was made to the entrance of the oyel, of the tent. Tcheles, it's made from turquoise, argamon, and from purple, b'selah shani, and from scarlet wool. Sheish Mazar, and from linen that is woven by Simarekim. This is a twisted linen. There's Amude Chamisha, and there were 5 pillars. There's Vavehem, and their hooks. V'tzipa Rashehem Chashukem Zahab. So their hooks and what was their overlay were covered with gold. And the bases were made out of copper, not silver. Interesting. Okay, we're verse 37. I mean, chapter 37, not verse 37. We're chapter 37, verse number 1. Yas B'Tzalel, and B'Tzalel made this Aaron. He made the ark, Atze Shitim, from acacia wood, Amasayim, V'Chetzi, Arka. Its length was 2.5, Amma V'Chetzi, and 1.5, Rachba is its width, Amma V'Chetzi Kaimosai, and its height was 1.5. Rashi B'Yas B'Tzalel. So why is it that it's saying that he made? The Fishan Elsan Navshay al Hamalacha, Yetz Mishar Chachamim. Because remember, Aliyah was also given to him, and there were others that were also did the work. So why is it pointing out Bezalel? As Rashi explains, because he gave himself over, he applied himself more to the work from the other wise men. Nikras al Shmoy, therefore it's called in his name. Okay? Verse number 2, V'yitzapeu zahav tahar, mibayz mechutz, v'yasloi, zer zav sabi. So now, we're talking about the on the picture here.
Not that the holy, holy, no?
Yeah. Oh, here. So here you can see it's got three parts to it. Outside is gold, the inside is gold, right? And in between is made from acacia wood. Okay? And then they were, put together. Let's see. So that's what he's saying, that the Itzapehu, meaning it was covered, right? Here it says overlaid, but covered, Zav Tahor, with pure gold, mi bias, from inside of mi machutz, and outside, meaning there were two, um, parts of gold. V'yas loizer zav saviv, and made a gold rim around it. Gold rim. Okay, v'yitzak loy arba taboy zav al arba ba'moisav, and then he cast 4 gold rings for the 4 corners. Ushtei taboy zalzalo achas. 2 rings were on one side. Ushtei taboy zalzalo shenis, and 2 rings on the other side. And what were the rings for it? So next verse 4. V'yas bade atze shitim. V'yas bade atze shitim, and he made the poles. Bade are the poles. Atze, wood, shitim of acacia, v'yitzafay zav, and they were overlaid, in other words, covered with gold. Verse number 5, v'yaves abadim v'tabais, tzalois, arin, laseis arin, and they came in, they were inserted, the badim, the poles, v'atabas, into the rings, altalis arin, on the sides of the arin, laseis arin, and they were there in order to carry the arin. Yes, kapeiris of Tor, and on top of the aron was made a kapeiris, a cover that is made out of pure gold. 2.5 by 1.5. V'yashne kruvim, and on top of it were made 2 kruvim, 2 cherubs. Zahav, made out of gold. Miksha asa oisam. They were hammered out from one piece of gold. Right, they were not soldered together, but it was hammered out from one piece of gold from the cover, which is pretty amazing. Here you have it, the cover, and the cherubs over here that are made from the same piece. For me and you, right? Are made from the two. Made from the 2 ends of the cover. Verse number 8. Kruv echad, one cherub from one end, from this one end. Kruv echad, and 1 cherub from this end, meaning from the other end. Mina kaperis, from the cover, osis akruvim, you made the cherubs, shnei kesesa, from the 2 ends. In other words, it's hammered out from the same piece as the cover, the parefis, kaperis rather. Kruvim, and what kind of shape do the kruvim take? So it says that the kruvim should be porse kanafayim. They should have their kanafayim, which is their wings, porse, spread, lamaila, upwards, seichachim, covering, bikanfeim, with their wings, ala kaperis, over the cover. And their faces, ishel achiv, a man to his brother. Al akapiris, over, on these, rather, the cover, Yupnei Akruvim will be the faces of the Kruvim. So you see over here, right? How it's covered over there, like wings over and facing each other. Then Vyasis a shulchan, and he made the shulchan. That's the table. Here's the table over here. He made the table atze sheet. He made from acacia wood. Amasayim argay. 2 is its length. Amma rachba and amma. One cubit is its width. Amma b'chetzi kaimasa, and 1.5 is its height. And this acacia wood should be overlaid. It should be covered with pure gold. Savim, and should have a gold rim around it. Yeah. 12. Yas loy mizgeres, and it should have a mizgeres, a frame. Toifach saviv. It should go all around. V'yas there zohav lemizgaratei saviv, and the pure gold rim for its frame all around. Here, it's maybe hard to see. So there's different parts to the table over here. This is what we're talking about over here, right? The frame with a rim. This is the frame over here. It goes on the tabletop that becomes the frame for the top part. Okay, verse 13. V'yitzoik al arba taboy zohav, and you should cast 4 rings made out of gold. V'yiten es ataboy says arba peyos ashel arba raglav. So after you make these rings, they should be placed, these rings, on the 4 corners of the 4 legs, as shown over here, right? And the poles going through it. So these rings were close to the frame as holders of the poles that would carry the table. The Yasis Abadim, and he made the poles atzeshitim from acacia wood. And they also are covered or overlaid zahav with gold. To carry the table. Last verse, V'yasis HaKelim, and he made the kelim, the vessels, the utensils, asher al shulchan, that go on the table. Es karaisav, translates here, bread forms. Es karaisav, es kapaisav. That means kapiot, right, is spoons. So kapaisav, spoons for the frankincense. Ve'es mani kaisav, and the supporting frames, esa kasis sheyusaf behem zav tahor, and the shelving that would be covered out of pure gold. Okay, let's see if we can find something in any of his teachings. Okay. What happened there? Okay. Okay. The only Rashi we had, so we have a Sikha from the Rebbe on it. You want to go to verse 1 in chapter 37. V'yas B'tzalel Aaron. B'tzalel made the ark. Rashi says, right, because he gave himself over to the work more than the other chachamim, the other wise men. It's called in his name that he did it, right? So we can ask, why can't you learn the verse simply that he made the ark? Other things, it doesn't say who made it because they were maybe, a group that made it. So it doesn't mention who the group is, right? Right, but this he made it. So why does Rashi have to come and say that he gave himself over? Just say that this specifically he made. So the Rebbe answers. The question is clear, yeah? Okay. So the Rebbe says,
Question is, what is Rashi adding?
no, that's not the question. The question is, why not learn it just simply that he made the ark? Why do you have to say he gave himself over more to this? No, that's not the question. No, that's what you just said was not what the Rebbe's question is. The way you at least expressed it was not. What's he adding? It's not what he's adding. It's why he shouldn't say it. No, adding means what are you giving to this that we don't know already? That's what it means adding. What are you saying that we don't know already? That when you say those words, maybe you meant something else, but those words meaning right. No, that's not.
Then if you come to say anything.
Yeah, he shouldn't say anything.
Right. What I'm saying.
No, because it's under. No. He's saying something different than what the Rebbe is saying. The simple meaning should be. Simple meaning is he literally made it, finished. That's all. Now you're not what you're coming to adding. You're adding is subtracting something, right? Because that's not what the simple meaning is.
Saying something different.
Saying something different. What do you mean? That he gave himself over more so, right?
Needed. He gave himself over. Okay.
There's two different explanations. And the simple one means just he made it. Specifically, he made this because the other things it doesn't say who made it, right? So it means that he made this specifically. So the Rebbe explains, Ishleimar. The Aron was not given over to one person to do it specifically, right? That only one person should do it.
But he applied himself to another.
No, whoa. David,
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
you just follow. No, what the Rebbe is saying, you're already adding something, and that's why we don't get something because we're already giving our own interpretation, right? Now, maybe right what you're saying, but that's not the way to learn, because that's with one's own ego that you have to say something rather than put aside that you don't need to say something. You just need to receive. Once we receive, then we learn, right? Okay. So he explains. Others, he explains over here. The Rebbe just made a statement. What was his statement? Who could tell me the Rebbe's statement?
He just made it. But he
Hmm?
amended it.
What did I just say the Rebbe said?
He didn't make it all of it.
Huh?
He didn't
Right.
make it all of it.
That it was not something to be done by one person, right? So now the Rebbe explains that. The work of the Aron, including also the kapeiros and the kruvim, right? The cover and the cherubs, right? Was made from a piece of a whole gush. I don't know a whole ignot, a chunk of gold, right? Which was a lot and heavy, right? 2.5 by 1.5, right? By one was
inside and outside.
No, we're talking now about the pareches with the kruvim, right? That was hammered out. So that was a big piece. The aron itself was not. It was three different pieces, right?
Sorry, I'm talking about the cover.
Yeah, the cover. The Rebbe is proving. One second. One second. One second. Follow what the Rebbe is saying. So how many fingers do I have up? So let's look this way, because when we look inside, sometimes we kind of go in a different direction. The big piece of gold was heavy. It was impossible for one person to lift up. So the Rebbe is proving that making the Aron could not have been one person. That's the point that Rebbe wants to make. Others, why does the Rebbe have to say that? Because we have no places that say who should make it, how many people should make it, right? So the Rebbe is showing in Rashi's explanation of why he says what he's saying, right? So he's proving that it had to be not done by one person. Other things maybe could have been done by one person because they weren't so heavy. We don't know. We don't have a proof from Chumash, from verses in the Torah. We don't have a proof. But here the Rebbe wants to say, we have a proof that it could not have been done by one person, right? Therefore what? Therefore Rashi has to explain. Why does the verse then say that he made it? It can't be that he did the actual work himself. You can't say that. It was too heavy that it would be able to put the cover onto the ark itself. Therefore, he has to say that he gave himself over more than other people. Other people worked together with him to make it. That's the explanation. Got it? Make sense? All right, amazing.